After you finish the burning rubber task in Escape from Tarkov, Skier's second task for you is Supplier. This is one of those tasks where if you get unlucky with the drops, it can take what feels like forever. This can be especially frustrating because it unlocks 3 additional tasks, one of which is the beginning of the Peacekeeper introduction chain. So getting stuck behind a task because you can't find some dumb white armor that nobody uses and the best worst gun in the game is something I'm hoping I can show you how to avoid. There are a few spots on 2 specific maps that you can check which are fairly high yield on the armor spawns. Before we start on that task, let's talk about the Taz. There's really no magic bullet for this one, so you definitely just need to find one on a scav or in a weapons crate. Thankfully, this is usually the easy part since there are a lot of scavs that spawn with these. There are typically 2 waves of scavs per map, and if you didn't know, generally speaking, you're going to find these more commonly on that first wave since those are usually the more poorly geared or equipped scavs than the second wave of scavs. This applies for pretty much every map, and if you've been looking for them while running Ground Zero tasks, you probably already have them already. So let's just move on to the armor. You need to find one BNTI Module 3M armor in Raid, which means unfortunately you can't just purchase it, and you aren't going to be able to craft it soon enough with the hideout to be helpful in this task. So your only potential sources are loose loot, spawns, ground stashes, and any of these 3 weapon boxes. Your 2 most reliable are going to be scavs and the loose loot. Most people don't realize there are some pretty consistent loose loot spawns in Tarkov for these armors in both factory and more so in woods since there are 6 spawns rather than just 2. But if you're doing farming part 1 or delivery from the past, then you can consider going to factory to look for these. But once you're done with those, it's far more efficient to switch to wood unless you really enjoy factory for some weird twisted reason or you're good at the map. I'm going to quickly show you these 2 spawns in factory. There is one inside the 3rd floor office on the top of the filing cabinets, and then there is a second just above the stripper pole room at the end of the sky bridge on the outside of it. Factory, it's easy to forget how little time has passed since there's essentially an entire raid worth of PvP compressed into like 5 minutes, but keep in mind if you haven't headshot a scav or a player and you grab this armor, it has to be found in raid, so you need to wait the appropriate amount of time to leave or find something to kill. Thankfully, it's factory, and something will probably find you if you wait long enough. Moving on to woods. Chances are you will have a few different tasks to do here, but if you can work your way into the village the first 10 to 15 minutes of the raid, you've got a fairly decent chance at finding one of these armors. So let's talk about some map strategy since village can be a pretty hot area early wipe. There are 6 different spawn points which can be at the village in a very short period of time. So if you spawn in the southwest quadrant or the southern end of the map, you essentially have 0 chance of getting to any of these spawns prior to them being picked over, and things aren't really much better for the northwest spawns or the southeast spawns, but they have slightly less distance to cover. Ultimately, it is up to you if you want to risk cutting across player rotations in the middle of the map to push this area, but I would advise against it unless you spawn reasonably close. If you're the bridge vehicle exit spawn, then you typically only have one other spawn to worry about initially, and they tend to arrive in the eastern building as you're entering the northern part of town. There is a back entry to that eastern building through the fence, and it can be used to cover your approach or theirs. That's really the one person you've got to worry about getting to the loot before you. The other 2 nearest spawns will be coming from the south or the southwest, and the few remaining northern spawns may elect to go to USEC first since they know village is likely going to be looted by the time they get there, but be mindful of them anyway. Before moving freely in the village, you always want to scan the rocks to the south. There are a few very effective sniper spots which are very good at catching sloppy players who don't scan the horizon. Once you think you could move around without losing brain matter, there are spawns in each of the 3 buildings. So for the first and second spawns, they're in the greenhouse on the west side of the road. The first is in the corner near the dining room table that you can see shortly after entering, and the second is around the corner near this cabinet here. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th spawns are also on the west side of the road in this house with the garage attached to it. If you enter through the garage, then there is a spawn to the right and left of the table. One is near the cupboard, and the other is in front of the window on the floor here. Move upstairs in the garage house, and you can find the last one sitting on this nightstand at the foot of the bed near the window. The final spawn is on the opposite side of the road in the house over there. You just need to go upstairs and look in the middle of the red sofa on the second floor, and you can also find one there. With what seems like a slightly better than a 50% chance that you'll see one of these armors, I'd say that makes the trip to Village worth it early wipe. Top of that, you can find all kinds of task-related provisions in the housings as loose loot as well, and failing finding the loose loot armor, you still have a fairly solid chance to get it off of Scav on just about any raid, so be persistent, consistent, and hopefully bullet resistant. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this guide helps you breeze through the supplier task. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more Tarkov tips and guides. Drop any questions or share your own tips in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and help you out further. Good luck, stay safe out there, and hopefully I catch you on the next one. Peace.